Good morning, Marshall. I'm Jimmy John Jacob. Thank you for joining us. Let's head to Michael Hovatter with a look at our current conditions.
Thanks, Jimmy John. Good morning, Marshall. I'm Michael Hovatter coming to you with a look at your current conditions. Here at Marshall, it is currently 37 degrees and raining outside. We are currently under a winter weather advisory, and there is a possibility of some freezing rain this morning, so make sure you are extremely careful if you are commuting or walking around campus. If freezing rain starts, it will be incredibly slippery. If you are in an area that is higher in elevation, be extra cautious as well. As Thanksgiving break approaches, there is a lot to talk about in this week's weather forecast, so make sure to stay tuned for the extended forecast for the rest of our local weather.
Thanks, Michael. 2025 marks the 55th anniversary of November 14, 1970, when after playing East Carolina University, Marshall football players, coaching staff, journalists, boosters, and flight crew aboard Southern Airways Flight 932 died in a crash just a couple miles away from their destination at Huntington Tri-State Airport. Every year during the fountain ceremony, community members, students, and staff come together to remember those 75 lives lost, which includes laying white roses. The fountain, which was dedicated on November 12, 1972, was added to the National Register of Historical Places last year. This year's event was the first for Vice President and Athletic Director Jarrell Harrison and head football coach Tony Gibson. Harrison ended his speech with thanking everyone and reminding them why we say we are.
To the community of Huntington, thank you for never giving up on Marshall and Marshall University. And to the students, coaches, alumni, thank you for continuing to live a legacy of resilience that defines who we are. Because when we say we are Marshall, it is not just a cheer, it's a declaration of who we've been, who we are, and who we will always be.
The fountain will stay off until the spring game in April. Here are some more dates to keep in mind. The last day to withdraw from a full semester or second 7 weeks class is this Friday, November 21st. Thanksgiving break is next week, November 24th through the 28th, and finals week begins on December 8th. Let's finish out the semester strong. Now, Michael Hovatter joins us with a look at the weather for the week ahead.
Welcome back, everyone, to your Good Morning Marshall weather forecast. Here in Huntington, the winter weather advisory we are currently under will expire within the hour, and any freezing rain will transition into light rain as temperatures warm. This wet weather is a result of a low pressure system to the west that will move through our area this week. High temperatures for the rest of the week will remain in the 50-degree range up until Thursday, with low temperatures in the mid-40s. It will also likely remain cloudy tomorrow and Thursday, with a chance of some light rain on Friday. On Thursday, temperatures will begin to warm slightly into the low 60s before dropping back down into the 50s over the weekend. During the weekend and into next week, the weather will be fair and conditions will be clear just in time for the holidays. These conditions are perfect for Thanksgiving travel and will remain relatively similar at many of our nearby cities. Temperatures next week in Huntington will be similar to this week, with temperatures in the mid to high 50s with clear skies and fair weather. If you are planning on attending the football game on Saturday, November 29th, make sure to bundle up and bring an umbrella, as it will be very windy and may rain. With a high of only 53 degrees on game day, the wind will make it feel colder, so make sure you are aware of that. Thank you for tuning into today's weather report. I'm Michael Hovatter here with your Good Morning Marshall weather forecast. Happy Thanksgiving, and as always, go Herd. Now back to you, Jimmy John.
One major aspect of culture and life around most college campuses in the United States is the presence of Greek life. However, Marshall University doesn't seem to fit the mold like most campuses in the country. But in a way, it really isn't the organization's fault. Nate Courtney has more on why Marshall isn't as Greek life heavy as many other schools its size.
In recent years, participation in Greek life at Marshall University has seen a steady decline, with fraternities and sororities struggling to draw more students to their organizations. Under new leadership, Marshall's Greek organizations were under tight restrictions during the spring 2025 semester, as organizations were being suspended for what most would consider minor offenses. Marshall's biggest organizations, Kappa Sigma, Alpha Sigma Phi, Kappa Alpha, Alpha Tau Omega, Alpha Xi Delta, and Delta Zeta, were all either suspended or put on social probation during the spring term and will be or have been forced to complete a 6-step plan to be fully reinstated. Kappa Sigma's head of recruitment, Darden Horsley, explained how difficult it was to entice students to join his organization, given that Kappa Sigma was forced to miss out on the crucial recruitment period over the summer and instead began recruiting on the first day of classes.
We were starting on day one, like first day of school, which that's not where you want to be. You want to be in a place where you think that you're going to be comfortable and bring a lot of dudes in and a lot of members in for your organization for that spring. But starting that late was really, really hard.
The number of rules that have been imposed on Marshall's Greek life over the last year have overwhelmed the organization so much to the point where Marshall student government was forced to get involved to protect the students and individual organizations against the university. Member of Marshall student government Jimmy John Jacob explains why student government ended up having to step in against the university by passing a bill that forces the university to take a step back.
So the purpose of the bill was not anything drastic. It just said we didn't like what happened. But the biggest thing it did, and the biggest victory we had, is it started a conversation.
The fraternities and sororities that were given sanctions or suspensions are nearing the end of that sentence and should be fully back in action come the spring semester. Nate Courtney, Good Morning Marshall.
While Greek organizations here at Marshall are still trying to navigate its new leadership, the return back to normalcy may be closer than many students expect. We had quite a busy weekend here for Marshall Athletics, and Sean Donovan is joining us with this week's Sports Spiel.
Thanks, Jimmy John. It was a busy weekend for sure for Marshall Athletics as Herd football opened up the weekend with a road victory against the Georgia State Panthers. It was a homecoming for Herd quarterback Carlos Del Rio Wilson as he passed for a total of 321 yards and added another 97 on the ground. The Herd are one win away from becoming bowl eligible in Tony Gibson's first season as the head coach. They traveled to Boone, North Carolina Saturday to face off with the App State Mountaineers. Men's soccer faced off with the UCF Knights on Sunday in the Sun Belt Conference Championship. After coming off a thrilling overtime win Wednesday night versus the West Virginia Mountaineers, the Herd unfortunately fell short to the Knights 3-1. The Knights were led by a 2-goal performance by Lillian Recole, who was the tournament MVP. The Herd did get on the board in the 73rd minute with a goal by Carl Romberg, his 5th goal in 7 matches. The Herd will be back in action for the first round of the NCAA tournament Thursday night at 7:15 p.m. versus Cleveland State right here in Huntington. The Herd women's basketball team dropped a tough one at home Saturday night, 76-44. Junior guard Tamaya Lewis-Etsy and senior guard Blessing King led Marshall with 9 points each. The Herd men's basketball dropped a tough one on the road in Charlottesville to the Cavaliers, 104-87. Landon Joseph led the Herd with 22 points, and Matt Van Komen posted a double-double with 13 points and 11 rebounds. That's all for this week's Sports Spiel. I'm Sean Donovan. Back to you, Jimmy John.
Thanks, Sean. And finally, here's today's Squirrel Cam brought to you by Paul Sebert. Thanks for watching. This show is a student-produced newscast of the WPH Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications and the Department of Geography at Marshall University. We will not have a show next Wednesday, so tune in Wednesday, December 3rd at 7 on JMC TV for our final show on the latest in Marshall news, sports, and weather. I'm Jimmy John Jacob, and remember, great mornings make great days.